I'm going to take you all along and show you exactly how I plan a week of homeschool. First things first, I'm going to go into our homeschool schedule. This is the free download. It's editable. You can get this from my website, and I'm going to change the dates on here. So Monday's the 17th. I'm just going to change it to reflect the week that we're going to be on. And I'm actually going to print a couple copies of this because I always seem to mess up on the first one. So I'm actually going to print out 3 copies of this. I've got the hard copy of the schedule printed out. And then the next thing that I do, and I cannot emphasize this enough, pull out your family calendar. Do not start planning your lessons until you check to see which appointments you have going on this week. So for example, here on the 17th, I have a braces appointment at 1 p.m. That is smack dab in the middle of our homeschool day, so that's going to change things on the schedule. So down here where it says appointments, I'm just going to put what I've got going on. Oh, and look at that, I've already messed up. Oh, that's going to drive me nuts. I also see on the calendar that on the 18th, it's favorite color day at our co-op. So where I have our co-op here, I'm just going to put a little note, fave color day. Another thing that I like to do before I actually start planning the lessons is I look back at our previous schedule so I can see exactly what we've already completed and where we've left off for each subject. And then instead of planning for one whole day, like planning for all of Monday and then going and planning for all of Tuesday, I'm going to plan horizontally. So I'm going to do all of our morning work plans, and I'm going to move on to our science plans, ELA plans. And that's going to help because I'm not having to pull out a bunch of different curriculum books from different subjects. I can just pull out our science and plan for the entire week, put that away, then pull out the ELA, plan for the entire week. You get the point. So I'm going to start with morning work, and every single Monday for morning work, we do our CC memory work. We are a classical conversations family. Memory work is just like what the kids have to memorize for the week, little songs and jingles about history and science. Wednesdays, we call these writing Wednesdays. We always do a little writing prompt out of the writing book that I got. I have a video on my channel showing that. Thursdays, we always do a story from our animal anthology book. I also have a video on my channel showing about that. And then Friday morning work, we just call this Fun Friday. So we usually start school a little later on this day. Sometimes we do morning work. Sometimes we just jump right into the day because we've been busy having fun in the morning. Now I'm just going to move down the line. So we have science. I'm going to plan science for the entire week. Tuesdays are our co-op day, so we don't do a normal schedule. Pull out our science book. We're starting a new unit study with Schoolhouse Discoveries, and we're actually going to be starting on day 1. So I'm just going to look right here at lesson 1, what is a tropical rainforest? And on my plan, I'm just going to write lesson 1. When I look at the plan for tomorrow for the what is a tropical rainforest, it's really just going to be a read aloud. So just for my own mind's sake, I'm just going to put on the plan lesson 1, read aloud. So this tells me that I don't need to gather a bunch of supplies. It's just a simple read aloud that day. Then when I move on to the second part of lesson 1, this would be like day 2. So day 1, day 2 up here, it looks like we're doing the read aloud again. And this would also be a day where I would scan this QR code and show the kids some videos talking about the different layers of the rainforest. So on my plan, I'm just going to put read aloud and QR videos. Again, it tells me I don't need a bunch of supplies. That's all we're doing that day. And then I'm just going to continue doing that. So this would be the next day. This would be the next day. I'm just going to put little notes telling myself what it is we're doing. I'm done with science, so I'm going to move on to language arts and my one-on-one time with my other daughter, which this is all Christian Light education. So I bring out my teaching guides. We have reading with my 2nd grader, language arts with my 2nd grader, and kindergarten with my 4-year-old. Go into my teacher's guide, and I'm going to see what lesson we're on. So it looks like we left off with this lesson, which means we are moving on to lesson number 8. What's nice about this is that the reading and the language arts are always going to be the same. So if you're on lesson 8 in reading, you're going to be on lesson 8 in language arts. So this part is really easy. I'm literally just going to go through. We're on lesson 8 with my 2nd grader, which means the next day we're going to be on lesson 9, next day lesson 10. You get the point. It's also good to have your teacher's guide because I can see that on lesson 10 is actually a quiz day. So I need to make sure I mark that on here. Lesson 10, this is a quiz day. Now it's time to move on to my 4-year-old's kindergarten. So same thing in my Christian Light teacher's guide. I know that we're starting the week on lesson 6. So I'm just going to put lesson 6 here. Lesson 6 is the last one of their light units, which means over here, we're going to be on the next booklet, but we're going to be on lesson 1. I'm just going to put a little note, book 5. And then this would be lesson 2 and lesson 3. Now, my 4-year-old does finish the kindergarten activities really quickly, so sometimes I'll add a Horizons preschool lesson in here somewhere, but I'm not going to write that down. Now, the next part is when my daughter hops on Mia Academy. So this is my 2nd grader, and I used to write which subject she was going to be doing on Mia Academy for that day, but you can just go into your parent portal and schedule all these on there, so there's no point in writing them down. I'm going to leave that blank, and then the last thing I have to do is just our math. Just like the other Christian Light subjects, I'm breaking out my teacher's guide. I know that we're starting a new light unit, so we're going to be on lesson 156 of the light unit 10. That is literally it. I just planned an entire week of homeschool. It probably took me about 15 minutes. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions.